Alright guys, so here I have an airbrush, and I've purposely left paint dry in it, right? So it's been about, I'd say about 15 days, 16 days, something like that, that this red is in there, and it's dry. Like, I could run my finger, it's dry, the needle is stuck, it's not going anywhere. It still sprays air. I kind of have the pressure a little high, so you know it's spraying a little air, but as you can see, it's dirty. There's paint caked in there, obviously the inside. So I'm gonna take this cheap airbrush, right? Because I wouldn't do this to one of my good airbrushes, no way. So for this experiment, this is actually something that doesn't even happen to me, but I have to, for science. We're gonna do this clean out. Obviously, if you let your airbrush get like this, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to get it to work perfectly again. So yeah, that's why I always tell you guys to clean your airbrushes when you're done, rinse them out, flush them out. This is a worst case scenario, where the paint is dry all through and through in there, probably in here too. So if you let it get this bad, it's pretty much shame on you. So for today, we're gonna need a couple things. It helps to have a little brush. Right, so this little brush here is kind of one that I got included with I don't even remember what it came included with. It came with one of the airbrushes I ordered. And it's just a brush. You could use a paintbrush, also works as well. And normally I would never recommend using these, but again, this is an extreme case where the paint is dry inside of there, right? So some little brushes like this, these circular brushes, and having different sizes of them helps. Again, I got this free with an airbrush order that I got, but I know they sell these, they're relatively cheap, but they do help in an extreme case like this. Again, this is not normal. You shouldn't let your airbrush get like this, but I'm just gonna go to show how we can probably bring this back to life. And the special sauce for getting all this clean is going to be Createx 4008 Restorer Airbrush Spray Gun Cleaner, right? And biodegradable, water soluble cleaner, safely dissolves hardened and dried paint. This stuff is really good. It works amazing. You got to be careful with it. Yeah, even a rag that's wet with this and then you let it sit on something could eat through the paint all the way down to the primer. Be careful with this. It's strong stuff. Again, it's not super harmful, like it doesn't smell or anything, but it is strong for breaking up and dissolving paint. And that's what we're going to be using today to clean this airbrush. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to take off as much as I can. Alright, so let's take off this back here. We're going to try to take off the needle and see if it comes out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be stuck. Yeah, it's stuck. It's not moving. So we could just leave that on there. And that means nothing else will come off. This front piece will probably come off. Or maybe not. It's stuck. We might have to get some pliers. It's really, really stuck. So yeah, all we were able to get off is this. Fun times. Alright, so first things first, and that is we have to let the 4008 Restorer soak in this paint solution so that it could start breaking up that paint. So I'm just going to take a little rag here, right? I'm going to prop up the airbrush right here. And using a plate really helps to catch any kind of, spillage, and then a rag is just nice for propping up. And also we're going to be wiping everything down and everything. Make sure you have a dedicated rag for the 4008 Restorer. You don't want to use this rag for other stuff, because this stuff is like, it's really anti-paint. So if you like try to wipe something off that you're not supposed to, and even if it's been a while, that could really impact your paint on a painting or on anything really. So be careful with it. But all we're going to do is take some 4008 Restorer. We're going to put some in there, and then we're going to let it sit, maybe a good 15-30 minutes, and come back and see how well we could get, or how much of that paint we could get out. Maybe we can loosen up the needle a little bit. But first is to let it soak. We don't want to submerge the whole thing, because there's no need. Obviously it's still spraying air. This has still got good motion, so there's no need to submerge everything. Also, you don't want to get liquids inside your airline. In the airbrush, that could cause rust and all kinds of stuff, so you don't want to get any of that in there. So again, the whole trick is to just submerge the paint cup, just the front. Alright, so first things first, I'm just going to take, our little paintbrush here, and I'm just going to kind of scrub all the inside out, try to get it as far as I can into the needle, area, and try to get everything as loose up as possible. Alright, so as you can see, we got a lot of it loosened up here and there. There's a lot of like chunks of paint. So we don't want to dump this onto the plate. We want to actually try to save as much as this. So in our little resting nook that we've had going, right, so we're going to want to clean all this stuff out. So there's no way to like soak that without, dumping it into a cup and soaking the whole brush. But you don't really need to. So what we're going to do is just kind of take what we've cleaned and put it in the line here, and then we're going to rest our airbrush right up in there, right, and cover it up, and that'll help loosen up all the paint that's on the outside. So we're going to let that sit another 10 minutes or so, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to try to disassemble it some more. Alright, so it's been soaking for a minute, and most of this stuff out here will probably just rub off because nothing really sticks to chrome too well. So we're just going to start cleaning it up on the outside, getting all the paint off, and hopefully we get some of that restorer up in that crack so it starts loosening that front nozzle cap. That's all I'm going to do, is just start cleaning it up, and as you can see already, it starts cleaning up those edges and getting that paint gunk out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm kind of going to take some pliers, right? I'm going to continue cleaning the outside. I'm going to take some pliers as well and try to remove this nozzle cap here and make sure there's no paint dried up in there. And then we're going to continue on and remove the nozzle. We're also going to try to take all this paint gunk. You see this paint? Look at it. It's just like jelly in there now at this point. We're going to take all that out and we're going to clean the outside real good. Alright, so as you can see, we got all these chunks of paint out. You know, there's still some stuck along the walls there. But that's totally fine. We're going to give it a scrubbing here with our... You can use your fingernail to get any pieces that are kind of stuck on there. And we also were able to loosen up the needle enough that it came out, and you could see that it kind of has a lot of paint stuck on it. It's just not a deal. We'll clean that up. We were able to get the nozzle off of it. Also probably has quite a bit of paint in there, but we'll get that cleaned up as well. And then we were able to get you know, all the way down to we could look down the paint chute, and obviously there's paints in there, and that's where these little brushes are going to come in handy. Right, so we're just gonna go ahead and make sure there's no dry paint on here to start. Get this little bit of the paint off of there, and the inside of there is already wet, so we're just gonna kind of roll this guy in there carefully. There's obviously quite a bit of paint stuck in there, but just doing that seemed to have loosened that up just enough that I could get it out. So we're going to continue working at it with our little brushes. Gonna throw some restorer on this so we get it nice and clean in there. Again, I don't normally recommend this, but obviously this is an extreme case of, you know, if you left your airbrush completely soaked in paint. This is what you would have to go through to try to save it, and hopefully we could get this airbrush to spray again.
Alright, so now we have our airbrush, right? We've gone through, we've cleaned it up, and we've got it put back together. I'm going to put this piece back on. So now I would really recommend just taking some soap and water, some soapy water, and some paper towels, and going and cleaning up, you know, anything, like pretty much cleaning off the 4008, right? So you're going to feel that it feels kind of oily and stuff. So we're going to take some, just, you know, some regular dish soap and water. You guys seen me use my spray bottle all the time. And we're going to just kind of spray it out. We're going to clean it off with the paper towels and make sure we get, you know, whatever is left of the 4008 off of here. Then we're going to put some air, hook up an air line, and see if our airbrush sprays again.